Yo everybody, welcome back to another video. Thanks for stopping by and tuning into another one. You're freaking amazing. So guys, today's video we're going to be hopping into the second installment of our pro player series, where we have a well-versed pro player on the subject that we're discussing in today's video on the channel and discuss their absolute best tips on that subject. Now, I did a poll the other day and it's pretty dang clear that you guys want some Dynamite tips. And if you didn't vote for Dynamite, don't worry guys, this is only episode number 2. There's more of this type of video to come. Make sure to leave in the comments down below which thing you would like for me to do next on this series. It doesn't have to be a brawler particularly, it could be a game mode that you're struggling in as of right now, but if you want to have more tips on a brawler, we can continue doing that as well. That would help me out a lot. Thank you. Now, the pro player that we have on in today's video that is going to be giving you guys his absolute best tips for Dynamike is the one and only Lucky Bear, one of the renowned Dynamite gods in the game that knows how to triple jump. He has the world record for the most Dynamite jumps consecutively, which you guys saw at the beginning of the video. He is very, very good with Dynamite. So we're going to be covering quite a lot about Dynamite in today's video. For example, really important mechanics that you guys can start practicing as soon as you get done watching this video today, straight from Lucky Bear himself, that he deems critical to play Dynamite at a pro level or improve your gameplay with Dynamite. Moving on to other things such as game modes that you need to push Dynamite in, as well as the specific maps that you want to push Dynamite on and avoid. Believe it or not, Dynamite is insanely good on specific game modes, but there are maps that you want to avoid in those game modes for sure. We're also going to be going over his star power and how to do single and double jumps effectively in game at a strategic level, as well as going over triple jumps, which might take a long time to get down and it's hard to implement in a strategic way, but if you get it down, it can be useful in certain instances. And then to wrap things up, we're going to be hopping into some live gameplay with your boy Lucky Bear to see how he rips around with Dynamite, and I gotta tell you, it is a sight to behold. It's a lot of fun to play with him. Now, before we get into the information, whenever I have a pro player here on the channel, I always love to support them because they helped me out, so I'm most definitely going to help them out. So I asked Lucky Bear what he wanted me to advertise on my channel, whether it be a Twitter or a YouTube channel, and he didn't want one directly, but he wanted me to direct my shout out to a good friend of his called Asian Tryhard that's going to be creating a YouTube channel. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. He's kind of one of those god tier Dynamites that are playing in game right now. He's super good, so I'm sure he's going to have really good content about Dynamite if you want to see further information that you might have missed. So yeah, that link will be in the description down below. Make sure to go check it out, and with that being said, let's hop straight away into the information. Here we go. So first, let's go over a handful of tips that's going to help out your gameplay with Dynamite in a very big way. So tip number 1 with Dynamite, and this is a very important one, that is whenever you're throwing out your basic attack, the further it goes, the wider the Dynamites on the ground are going to be spread out before they explode. So for a quick example, if you're at maximum range, the Dynamites on the ground are going to be a little bit more spread out than what they would be if you throw them straight down at your feet. Now, this might not sound like a lot, but it helps in a very big way, because if you're keeping the opponents at your maximum range, you're going to have a little bit more accuracy in landing that chip damage. You might not be able to land both Dynamites, but getting that consistent one Dynamite so that you keep the opponent's damage and keep them slowly damaging down and they can't heal back up is very important. Try to keep your opponents at that maximum range if you're having a hard time lining up your shots. Tip number 2 with Dynamite is it's incredibly important to throw where the opponent is going to be. Now, this is going to take a lot of practice on your part, trying to get down the movements of the opponents that you're going up against. But for example, if someone is running in a straight line, this is going to be the easiest chance for you to line up your shots and deal damage towards them. But sometimes it's not that easy. People are very good at dodging Dynamite shots. You need to keep in the back of your mind what makes the most sense for your opponent to move in order to avoid you the quickest way possible. Sometimes, for example, it might be straight left to get the most gap in between you. So if you know that ahead of time, you need to pre-throw to the left of the brawler so you know that that's going to pick up some sort of damage against them. Also, you need to try to pinpoint the patterns of movements that the opponent is taking in order to dodge your shots effectively. The great thing about Dynamite is that the opponents that you're going up against are always going to be trying to avoid your shots. This is really good data for you to use because most of the time, a dodge is a knee-jerk movement. It's kind of the first thing that comes to the mind. It's not really well thought out in most circumstances, so most of the time it's just going to be imprinted in them to go in a certain direction. So they might be dodging straight right right a lot of the time. So you need to make sure to take note of that they're constantly going right in order to dodge your shots, and then preemptively throw right to kind of override their dodging technique. Now for the next tip, we're going to be going over very difficult matchups, i.e. Mortis when he's right on top of you or harassing you continuously in game. Now if that happens and he's right on top of you, it can be a very, very hard thing to get away from when you're going up against him, because he is one of the hardest counters you're going to be going up against when you're playing with Dynamite. But there are steps that you can take in order to somewhat counter him or give yourself a better chance to kill him or get away. The first thing to keep in mind about a Mortis is there's two different things that he's more than likely going to do. Number one, approach you aggressively to try to pick up the kill, or if he's damaged by your shots, he's going to retreat in the opposite direction of you, straight away from you. Now, in the circumstance that he's starting to approach you, he's not directly on top of you right away. You want to throw your sticks where he's going to be when he dashes up to get close to you. This is super, super important and can be incredibly difficult, but it's the only way you're going to be able to counter a Mortis. You have to be able to know where he's going to dash and have a hand-delivered Dynamite right where he's going to dash or close to, so you can get that chip damage off. So as he's approaching you, you need to try to be a few steps ahead of him, and we know the first sure movements of where Mortis is going to be. The end outcome is going to be right on top of you. So if you are preemptively throwing your shots where he's dashing, getting closer and closer, you might be able to pick up some damage as he's approaching you, and then once he's straight on top of you, you need to throw your Dynamite sticks on top of you and hope and pray that you get some sort of damage off on him to deter him or kill him in the long run. Now, the cool thing about playing up against Mortis is when he starts to retreat, if you do a really good job at dealing some sort of damage while he's approaching you, most of the time when a Mortis gets below half health, they're going to retreat, and that's going to be in the opposite direction of where you are. So once they start retreating, try to preemptively lead his shots while he's getting away. And most of the time, this is going to be the easiest way to pick up the kill on Mortis is when he's retreating. He might be out of dashes because he just tried to go off on you, so you can lead your shots a little bit more effectively. Also, another thing to keep in mind about trying to take out Mortis or anyone with a lot of movement speed is a flurry of shots. You need to make it very difficult to track your patterns of where the Dynamite sticks are going to be. So throwing them out in groups of two can be very, very helpful. Throwing one where they could be as well as one where they might be. Basically, throwing your sticks in spots where it's going to give you a really good chance to land at least a little bit of chip damage to get that brawler a little bit below half health, trying to deter him in a certain way so you can get him trying to get away from you, where it's going to be the easiest way to pick up that kill. Now, that might sound extremely difficult, but most of the time when a Mortis is approaching you or is right on top of you, it's not going to turn out very, very good. But if you have the right steps to try to practice to deter him and get him in a very awkward position, it might turn out for the better for you playing Dynamite. Next, let's go over some of the game modes that Dynamite stands a chance to push up in. And I say stand a chance because right now in the meta, Dynamite has a very, very tough time against the dominant brawlers, i.e. Carl, especially Carl. He's super, super bad against him, and he's in almost every single game mode on every single map, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. But the game modes that stand out for him to push in is Heist, as well as some bounty maps. So be sure to take note of these maps that we go over in today's video, write them down, and wait for them to come out and get to work once they do come out. So on Heist, the absolute best 3 maps that you want to be pushing up your cups with Dynamite on are Forks Out, Rolling Rumble, and Twisting Shoot. These are all incredibly good for Dynamite, coming from Lukey Bear himself. These are the 3 maps that he goes ham on. These are the ones that he waits to come out in rotation. Once he sees them out, he gets his comp together and he starts grinding with Dynamite. Now, there is a Heist map in particular that you want to try to avoid. So if you see Heist out in rotation, don't just jump into it right away with Dynamite. Sometimes it's important to take note of which map is actually out in rotation, and that is No Bridge Too Far. This is a very hard map to push Dynamite on, and you want to try to avoid it and wait for something else to come out. The second best game mode for Dynamite is Bounty. Now, there's not a whole lot of maps that he is insanely good on in Bounty except 2, and that is Hideout as well as Excel. You need to wait for these maps to come out in rotation if you want to play on Bounty. The reason Dynamite is really good on these game modes is because there are a lot of walls. It seems to be a prerequisite of what you need for Dynamite to be successful with him on Bounty and other game modes in general. general. It allows you to have a way to have a little bit more mobility to jump over the walls, as well as to stay protected when going for other brawlers. Now, after my discussion with Lucky Bear, he also brought up Siege and it being a pretty decent game mode to push up your trophies with Dynamike. However, just not right now. In the meta currently, with the Carls running rampant and the Jeans and the Rosas, it's very, very difficult for Dynamike in Siege. So you want to avoid those. Stick to Heist as well as Bounty on the maps that we covered in today's video. Next, let's talk about Dynamike's star power. Now, I'm going to keep this brief because I'm sure a lot of you guys don't have him maxed out, but for the small minority that does, there are some techniques that you can take to use it effectively in game. The first thing to cover is make sure to try to master one jump at a time. I know Lucky Bear can do double jumps, triple jumps, and even more jumps when he's in the training cave, but a lot of the time, if you're not skilled with it, double jumps aren't really going to come into play in a strategic way for you because it's incredibly hard to pull off. But single shots are easy enough. Now, it's super important to take note why we jump in general with Dynamike, and there's two main reasons. Number one, increased mobility. You can jump over walls, and two, immunity while you're in the air. Now, this is incredibly important because I see a lot of people jumping around like crazy with Dynamike with no particular reason behind it. This isn't a very good idea just because whenever you throw Dynamite down, you're wasting one of your basic attacks and then you only have 2 ammo to do whatever you need to do with it. Now, the best way to approach jumping with Dynamike is first throwing your Dynamite on the ground and then finding the perfect angle of where you want to go by running around it, squaring up where you need to jump. This is super, super important. You don't have to throw it straight at your feet in the correct angle. You can line it up just by running around it. Now, a really great way to use Dynamite star power in a efficient way, and you see Lucky Bear do this all the time, is throwing your Dynamite at an individual and then going up to the Dynamite to jump away. This way you're dealing damage to someone as well as jumping away. And if you're Lucky Bear himself, he jumps away and then throws down another Dynamite to jump again to safety over a wall or something like that. So that is a beautiful transition into double jumping. Now, this is where it starts to get very, very difficult with Dynamite, and it's going to take some sort of outside practice that is in training cave to get it down so you can use it strategically in game. Now, whenever you're trying to do multiple jumps with Dynamite, there is a very, very small window of where you need to throw your sticks out before you jump the first time to successfully land on the second one and jump before it explodes. A lot of time, if your timing's off, you'll jump once, but then the sticks will blow up before you can jump again. Now, Lucky Bear explains when you need to throw out the second stick of Dynamite, and it's on the very last frame before your first sticks blow up. Now, a very good way to determine this, other than just feel, which some of these Dynamite gods just get down because they're used to playing them for so long, is the sound of the Dynamite sticks. Alrighty guys, so we're here in Training Cave, and I want to show you guys the sound that helps you match up the final frame of when you need to throw out the sticks to get that double jump successfully. And it's what Lucky Bear describes as the first sound being the whoop. When you first initially throw out your sticks, you hear a whoop, okay, like the little whoop, and then after that there's going to be slight fizzing, so the Dynamite fuses crackling as they're burning, and then after that there's going to be a pause. So let's see if we can't hear it. So you get the whoop, there's some crackling, and then right after that, there's no sound whatsoever. This is a really, really good tool for you to feel out when the sticks are going to blow up to find that final frame. Now, you're more than likely not going to be using this for a super long duration, but it can help you out in the beginning of your journey of trying to get good at the double jumps. But after that, it just kind of comes off a feel of what Lucky Bear describes. It's just kind of a feel. Alright guys, so those are all the tips that Lucky Bear has for you. Again, these are the most important staple things that you need to start practicing with him. Make sure you're playing on the right game modes. Make sure you're getting down some of his mechanics like single jumps, maybe transitioning into double jumps, and then feel out, try to get used to them. But yeah guys, hope you found it useful. We're going to be hopping into gameplay with Lucky Bear to see how he does in some live matches. Here we go. Okay guys, hopping into our first match with the legend himself. We are rocking Mortis, Piper, and of course Dynamike. Now I picked Mortis just because I want to have some mobility to keep up with him, take a look and see what he does, because these matches is to showcase Lucky Bear's skill. No pressure intended. Also, we are on Hideout, one of the 3 bounty maps that we went over in the beginning of the video, of really good maps for you to play Dynamike on because of these walls. Super, super good. But here we go. Let's see what we can do here. Now, we got to protect our boys here because Mortis is easy pickings for the brawlers that we have on our team. So we'll do our best to keep him away from our guys. Okay. Jean is going to be tricky. Jean is in literally every game mode, as you guys know. Okay, let's see what happens. We can't get too far away from our Piper, because I don't want this Mortis to come barreling in or anything. He's in this patch of bushes, so Lukey Bear doing his thing, going ham. I didn't see what he did over there, but he's had a 4 bounty, so that's pretty dang good. Okay, here we go. He's matched up against... Okay, let's try and fish out this Mortis here. Okay, we got the Mortis. Good deal. Lukey Bear still doing his thing. We gotta hold our lane, and I want to be laned up with the Mortis because I want to keep an eye on him. He has super, but we are 1 hit away from our super. Lukey Bear going in with some hops. Get some immunity. Okay. Let's help out over here. Nice! What a legend! That's how you beat a Mortis, people. Easy work. Easy work. Lukey Bear, the legend. Okay, so we have to protect Lukey Bear, so I'm gonna keep them off of him as best as I can. 9-6. He can't die. Nicely done. Literally carried that game. Lukey Bear, freaking amazing. Let's hop into another one. Here we go. Okay, so hopping into game number 2, we have pretty similar team comp. We have a Piper, a Jean, and a Barley. Now, we don't have an aggro type brawler against us, so it might be a little bit of a different story. But these guys are good. We have to keep that in mind. Okay, here we go. So they got the star in the beginning, so they're ahead right off the get-go. Let's see what we can do, and I want to really see what Lukey Bear does. He seems to be pretty good against other lobbers. So we'll see if we can assist him in any ways. See if anyone slips up, makes a mistake. So obviously Lukey Bear's kind of winning this confrontation here against the other lobber. Let's see if we can't pressure up. They're both in really weird spots here. I'm getting away because the Piper hit us. Okay. Lukey Bear's just cornering them. Okay, let's see if we can't close in. Ooh, that was close. Nicely done. 2-1. Man, they're having a hard time against Lukey Bear. Brock and I aren't doing a whole lot right now. Okay, so I'm going to stand in front of Lukey Bear. We want to get the 2. And if I'm on top of them, we do better damage. We want to avoid them getting hit. I'm literally not doing anything. I can't really find an opening. As you all know, I'm kind of a passive Mortis player. So 6-4, still in the lead. Oh, the bait. Let's go. And that was not an intentional bait. That was me messing up. Okay. But like I said before, I kind of want to compliment Lukey Bear's. Nice. Lukey Bears. I want to showcase Lukey Bear's gameplay. And they're making up for my bad gameplay as well. Alright, you guys. This should be the final game. We'll have to see. So we have Piper, Brock, and Jean. And these guys are pretty decent. So we'll see how we can do against them. They have a really good team comp here. Okay. Okay, so Jean is very, very low. Probably could have went in on him, but we'll chill out a little bit. Lukey Bear, legend. Let's see. Just chill out. We don't want to feed Brock super. We want to allow Lukey to have this nice little nook of his for as long as possible. Because as soon as someone gets a super to destroy those walls, they're going to use it on that, I believe. It's something that I would do, at least. Okay, 2-1. We're not going to play Reckless. This is something about Bounty that you don't just want to hand them stars, especially at this level of gameplay. Just because they're going to play passive, and if you just give them the win, then they can switch their gameplay to being a little bit more passive then. So avoid the Jean super. That was his first super in the game, and it's been a minute already, so we can assume that it's going to take him quite a while to get his next one. and that's going to be a game changer, probably a winning thing. So we got to chill out a little bit. 2-1, very uneventful. Guys picking up the win. Dynamite going in. Double jump. Brock taken out. Let's go. 4-1. So Brock got... Oh my goodness. The super into the Brock hit. 6-5. 30 seconds left. I'm literally not doing anything. Think of me as a referee. I'm commentating. I'm here for the show. But if the opportunity presents itself, I'll hop in. Nicely done. Beast. 11-5. I didn't throw a single hit there, guys. Didn't do anything. Oh my goodness. Fantastic, guys. But hopefully you all enjoyed today's video. Like I said before, Lukey Bear, probably one of the best Dynamikes in the entire game. I would like to say the best Dynamikes in the entire game, just from all of the feats that he's had in the past. But yeah, guys, big shout out to Lukey Bear for coming on the channel. Sure did learn a lot from him just in the discussion that we had about the tips, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it and found it useful as well with your Dynamite gameplay. Practice some of the stuff, take it step by step, playing the correct game modes that we went over, as well as some of those mechanics that Lukey Bear shared with us, and I'm sure your Dynamite gameplay will improve dramatically. So yeah, guys, hopefully you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to slap a like on it. I really appreciate that. And with that being said, make sure to keep having fun with Brawl Stars, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Yeet.